The Miami GP driver entrances were pretty awkward and really hard to watch. So if you only tuned in for the actual race, and if you haven't seen any of the media coverage since the race has been over, there has been a lot of talk about these driver entrances, and a lot of the fan reactions have been pretty negative. Look, personally, I found it hilarious, so I'm glad we saw them, but also at the same time, let's just hope that they never happen again. Or if they do happen again, it's done in a completely different way. The driver entrances start with LL Cool J coming out, hyping up the Miami crowd, getting them pumped for these driver entrances that are about to happen. And as soon as he's finished his 20-second little spiel of hyping up the crowd, he pulls out a little notebook. I've got no expectation that LL Cool J, even if he was like a huge fan of Formula One, is gonna remember every single driver and a one-sentence top-line stat fact about each driver. It's not strange to have an announcer looking at a book while they're announcing a multitude of names, but looking at LL Cool J hunched over a little notepad was just a bit odd. Nick DeVries just absolutely legs it. And it's just a great tone for the rest of them. It's like, wow, no one is keen for this at all. They all had to be convinced. If you've been to a wedding recently, sometimes they do a bride and groom walk-in with the whole bridal party, and on the dance floor they'll stop and they'll do a twist, or they'll do one of these. I was actually expecting the drivers to do like a little emote. The drivers not emoting in the middle there is a huge missed opportunity. Alex Albon gets a rare close-up during his walk-in. It was really awkward, even though he actually had one of the more natural looking walk-ins of the whole thing. As all the drivers walk in, LL Cool J is announcing like a little fact about each of the drivers. Most of the time it was driver name, driver's country of origin, and then one small little fact. When LL Cool J announced Yuki Tsunoda, all he said was, he's a pretty good driver, he's from Japan and he's quite short. It actually made me laugh. Why not just tell us what his favorite color is as well? Lando Norris has a great entrance as well. He gets gassed in the face and then has to walk through like nothing happened. Lance Stroll gets announced as having the hopes and dreams of all of Canada on his shoulders, so I don't know how he's going to cope with that going forward. Every sports fan knows that players have a responsibility to sponsorships and the teams and the parent company as well. So it's not strange to see drivers show up at fan events, appearances, interviews, that kind of thing. They're just helping promote the brand, and they have an obligation to their sponsors and their teams to do that. But this whole thing just came off as very awkward and not really in the spirit of Formula One racing at all. Sure, there is a lot of glitz and there's a lot of glamour around Formula One. Some races more than others. That's a part of the sport, and it has been for a long time, and it will be going forward. The Miami race seemed very celebrity heavy. They got a lot of coverage, and it just seemed like a little bit too much. And the driver entrances before the GP just seemed a little bit out of touch with what the fans actually like about the sport. And I understand there's a lot of new fans at Miami this year, and you want to get these new fans continually interested in the sport. You want them familiar with all the drivers. You want them to get excited about their favorite drivers as well. But this just seemed a little bit out of touch. If the driver entrances in a similar format ever happen again, I really hope it's retooled. I'm not saying it's a dumb idea. It was just a little bit out of touch. Every driver clearly hated having to do it. I'm sure it wasn't the best mental framing before going into a race. I didn't quite enjoy it, but I also loved it at the same time. But if this happened every single week, I wouldn't be tuning in for the driver entrances. If you've made it this far into one of my videos, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe. That keeps me going. I'm gonna keep making more of these videos. Let me know what you think down below. So yeah, thanks again. See you next time.